Alrighty, yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. DDG94 here, back with another reaction video. Today, we finna react to shit. The worst WWE Money in the Bank winners. This should be interesting. Without further ado, let's get right into it.
Since Money in the Bank was introduced back at WrestleMania 21, the last 19 years have been pretty up and down. When it's being used at its best, there have been some great cash-ins that have been able to elevate people into becoming main event mainstays. Guys like Edge, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk, just to name a few. But then there's the guys we're going to talk about today. Guys that won the briefcase and for one reason
They gave Otis the briefcase just to give it to The Miz. And didn't even do anything with it when they gave it to them. Which was stupid. They only gave it to Miz just to give it back to Bobby Lashley, just so he could lose it to Brock Lesnar. So Brock Lesnar can lose it to Roman Reigns. Make it make sense.
Stop it. Get some help.
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
What a great way to use the Money in the Bank that year, right? 2020, how we do not miss you.
or another, things did not end up working out for them. Whether it was because of bad booking, bad timing, or other circumstances, there have been some pretty bad winners of the Money in the Bank contract. Who are those people? Well, it's your boy Mo if you don't already know, and this is my list of the worst Money in the Bank winners of all time.
Let's get it.
Let's get into it. So we're going to start this list with the third winner of the Money in the Bank contract. Oh, hold on. I'm going to try it one time. Mr. Kennedy!
Shut up, bitch!
Kennedy!
Bruh, shut your bitch ass up!
Listen, I hate to see his name on the list, to be honest, because this is a guy that had a lot of upside to him. He was solid in the ring, great on
I wouldn't say this was a bad one. It's just bad how it ended.
the mic, and extremely charismatic. So when he won the briefcase at WrestleMania 23, it looked like the right call here. But then all of a sudden, 36 days later, the man loses the contract to Edge on Raw, just for Edge to cash in a few days later on SmackDown. Whole time it was an injury that was supposed to keep him out for months. But the thing is, the doctor messed up because it was actually supposed to be only a few weeks. Meaning, all this was for nothing. Real talk, the doctor would have had to run the ones with me. I'm not gonna lie to you, because what the fuck? And unfortunately, when Kennedy came back, he never really regained that steam, and he ended up being released a couple years later. The first major fumble in the history of Money in the Bank. And it wasn't even him or the Booker's fault either. But can't really say the same for this next guy.
After just getting through watching this nigga in the power slap, we get to see this nigga at arguably his worst moment, bruh. And this nigga had the audacity to be like, John Cena didn't want to put me over the night after WrestleMania. Of course John Cena didn't want to put you over the night after WrestleMania. Why the fuck would he? You didn't manage to turn out to be nothing. John Cena only puts over people you know it's going to turn out to be something. Like, the first time he faced Sheamus, what did he do? He let Sheamus go over because he saw something in Sheamus. Come on, dog. I got to stop with this John Cena slander, man.
I'ma just let Stephen A explain the main issue with this one.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
So we just letting anybody hold the briefcase now, huh? Mind you, the match had 9. Yes, count.
Exactly. This was a stacked Money in the Bank ladder match. And honestly, it was a great one, too. It was a good one. I wouldn't say it's a great one, but it was a good one, though. But the winner fucked everything up about this match.
9 other options here. Kofi, Young Drew, Christian being the easy choice, literally anybody else. And they chose Jack Swagger.
Come on, man.
Not to mention, it felt like 30 hours before this idiot actually got the briefcase down. Did nobody teach him how to unhook it beforehand? So then 5 days later, the guy cashes in on Chris Jericho for the World Heavyweight title, and bro, just look at his face. Why was he so bored at the fact that he just won his first world title? Big fella, if you don't care, why should I? But you know what else was boring? His fucking world title reign. Genuinely one of the worst title reigns in the history of WWE. Can you name me one title defense? Seriously, shit was so bad, they redid Money in the Bank the very same year.
And both cash-ins were 10 times better than his. Kane cashing in that same night was good. And the Miz, I listen, bro. The Miz being WWE champion for the time he was champion, he was arguably one of the best fucking heels at that time. One of the best fucking heels to ever do at that time. He made you literally hate him.
Do you understand just how ass you have to be? And according to reports, John Cena refused to let Swagger cash in on him, which, hey, smart man. I'm not really gonna get to say much good about Cena for the rest of the video, so I'll give him the salute for that. But damn, bro, this is the guy they went with? Seriously, were any of y'all moved by Jack Swagger of all people? Let me know in the comments, because I just don't get it. So even if I put aside the fact this is one of the few wrestlers that I genuinely dislike, and also put aside the fact that despite them giving him cool cars, his own ring announcer, at the time the biggest Royal Rumble win of all time, and he still had no aura, what made Del Rio's Money in the Bank win so bad was the timing of everything. So we're in the middle of the Summer of Punk, which is one of the hottest angles WWE had in such a long time, but also one of the most mishandled storylines in the history of WWE. And for some reason, they just felt the need to throw Del Rio in the middle of all of this. So after Punk wins the unification match between him and Cena at SummerSlam, for whatever reason, Kevin Nash returns to beat the dog shit out of Punk, and out comes Alberto El Cabron, Del Rio, to cash in and win the world title, just for him to lose it to John Cena a month later. What the hell was the point? You brought Punk back in 8 days for what? You stunted the Summer of Punk for what exactly? Did he have to cash in now? This for me came off as a swerve just for the sake of a swerve. And on top of that, he just felt completely unimportant with the title. Yo, side note, y'all remember the tournament for the WWE title on the Raw after Money in the Bank? Yeah, the one that Deadbeat eventually won. Yeah, so for whatever reason, they put Del Rio in it, despite the fact he was holding the contract that was specifically made for the WWE Championship. God damn it, WWE. Sometimes I just don't understand, y'all. Oh yeah, and also fuck Del Rio. Look, I love John Cena. Always have, always will. But there's just some things from his career I cannot defend, and this is one of those. And the problem was, if you look at who the other options were, not exactly the most exciting. Big Show, Kane, The Miz. Bro, what? The only one I could have justified making any sense was
Jericho not winning that one was kind of like, what the fuck?
Chris Jericho, but even he was gone a few months later. So they give it to a guy who literally can get a title match whenever he wants. Hell, it looked like the man won it by accident, just for him to turn around and announce his cash-in for Raw 1000 a couple weeks later. And because of a run-in from the Big Show that caused a DQ, he became the first person to fail their Money in the Bank cash-in. Listen, I understand that somebody had to eventually fail their cash-in, but this was just unnecessary. Money in the Bank should be used to elevate new guys, not stat pad somebody who's literally the face of the company. Exactly. And the fact that they were trying to tell the story of John Cena having the worst year of his life supposedly, but yet he's gaining more accolades at the same time. But that
was a terrible story. Especially when you consider the fact this nigga beat Brock Lesnar. This nigga beat Brock Lesnar after he lost at WrestleMania. Then won Money in the Bank, but he has the worst. Yeah, that 2012 storyline was ass. I don't know what they was trying to do with that one. Yeah, bruh. Call it what it is. That bullshit, bro.
Oh, nigga, give me one more round. Tell me that go. Oh, please. Tell me that go. Oh, nigga, give me one more round. Tell me that go.
And again, that whole story goes out the window because they had him beat Brock Lesnar at Extreme Rules. Like I said, I can't defend the guy sometimes. But I will say, the best thing we got out of this whole thing was that face. You know the one. Absolutely classic.
They fumbled with Damian Sandow. They fumbled hard with Damian Sandow. That's what I will say. They fumbled so hard with that man. It's sad.
And Cena strikes again. The problem with the briefcase for the World Heavyweight title this time around was that the plan was to unify both belts. So whoever had the contract was pretty much screwed, but I hate the fact that it had to be Damian Sandow. The intellectual savior of the masses character was awesome. They even gave him his own custom briefcase to fit the gimmick. But holy shit did they make him look stupid. Okay, so he confronts Cena, whose arm is in a sling by the way, and Damian blindsides Cena and beats that arm to hell. So okay, cool. You made him look like a vicious, ruthless heel. Great. So he cashes in the contract just to lose to a single-armed attitude adjustment.
What kind of shit is that?
You know, I feel like the word buried gets thrown around a lot sometimes, maybe way too much. But no. This was a true burial. You couldn't even beat a one-armed man you literally beat down. How do you look yourself in the mirror after that? And I get it. Damian Sandow was never going to be put in the position to unify both the world titles. But did you have to do it like this? The man never even sniffed any more singles titles for the rest of his WWE career and was just doing a bunch of comedy relief until a couple years down the line where he got released. Such a drop ball here, man.
Yeah.
Just so y'all know, we're not done with John Cena just yet, folks. Look, I love Sheamus. I think he's one of those guys that's not going to actually get the respect he deserves until he's actually done. And to be honest, I don't even think him with the briefcase was as bad as some of these other ones. So I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But if we keeping it a stack, who really cared to see a Sheamus world title run in 2015? Since he'd been back, he really wasn't doing much of anything interesting. And all they used him for in the end was to try and get Roman Reigns over as a babyface again. And granted, it worked for like 3 weeks. But hey, we got the League of Nations out of all this, right guys?
Brother,
So now we've reached the 6 straight years of WWE just
This is the one that hurt me because Baron Corbin has so much potential, bro. The fact that Vince never saw anything in Baron Corbin, yet Baron Corbin had everything that Vince kind of was looking for, was ridiculous. I felt very bad for him. This is what low-key, I'm going to tell y'all right now, this is what low-key drew me away from WWE. This was like my final straw. The fact that you had a guy who really did have the talent to actually get over. Like his lone wolf character was fucking amazing. And they fucked it all up. I at that point, I was like, yeah, I'm done. I don't know what they doing. They're not developing superstars no more. They keep relying on the part-timers. It's like, yo, I'm good. Wake me up when y'all start building up talent again.
completely mishandling this briefcase, and it starts here in 2017. First things first, these dummies decided Money in the Bank needed to be a SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view. Why though? But they had a lot of great choices here anyways. Zayn, Owens, Nakamura. But nah, they went with Baron Corbin. But I was kind of okay with it because at the time he was presented as kind of an upper mid-card guy. So this made some sense. But holy shit, his cash-in was so bad. Oh my god. So it's the go-home SmackDown for SummerSlam and it's John Cena versus WWE Champion Jinder Mahal. Yep, we're in the dark times of SmackDown, folks. And the match ends on a DQ when Corbin, who's got a match with Cena at SummerSlam, by the way, runs in and beats them both up. So he decides, fuck it, I'ma just cash in right now. And when the bell rings, Corbin, instead of focusing on the actual champion, he decides to knock Cena off the apron and gets rolled up by Jinder from behind and fails his cash in. Mind you, Jinder just wrestled a whole match with John Cena and Corbin is completely fresh. I do not care about any backstage politics that were going on. You could have had him lose the briefcase or something to somebody who could have cashed in themselves. But nah, they just went with straight character assassination, and the guy still, to this day, has not fully recovered from this whole situation.
Bro, they destroyed Baron Corbin's character. That lone wolf gimmick was destroyed on that night. And that was the night I gave up on WWE. I said after SummerSlam, no more.
Also, why did every failed cash-in up to this point involve John Cena? This had to be done on purpose, bro. There's no way. And the worst part of this all, the Jinder Mahal WWE title reign just had to continue.
Yup.
I hate it here.
Okay, now this is where I was completely out the loop with WWE. So at this point, I don't know anything. Things didn't really pick up for me until the pandemic. But 2018, 2019, I can't tell you anything about Money in the Bank cash in.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to take a look at this man. Does this look like somebody that would need a Money in the Bank to win a world title? Back in 2018, Braun Strowman was so organically over, it was insane. The man was so over, he got the dumb catchphrase of "get these hands" to become popular. But for whatever reason, WWE found every way possible to keep him away from winning a world title, despite him being significantly more popular than the guy that they actually wanted on top. So when they gave him the briefcase, I disagreed with it, but hey, maybe they'll finally capitalize on his popularity. But nope, they just used him to pretty much mask their bad booking. So first they bring him out before the 1,325th match between Brock and Roman at SummerSlam for the Universal title, just so that match doesn't get hijacked. He actually gets beat down by Brock and just becomes a non-factor in the whole thing. Then the next night when he tried to cash in, he gets beat down by the Shield out of nowhere. So then the week after that, he and Roman agreed to a Hell in a Cell match for the Universal title, meaning he announced his cash-in. But for whatever reason, they turned him heel even though his anger was completely justified. So then we get to Hell in a Cell, Brock Lesnar shows up, F5s both guys, and the match just ends. Not in a pinfall, not in a submission, just ends. How do you explain that? How?
That's crazy. That's crazy. Like I said, I wasn't watching WWE right at the start, so this is my first time even noticing, didn't know about this. So the fact that this happened,
This doesn't get the same amount of slander as Hell in a Cell 2019, I don't understand, because this was the start of WWE thinking it's okay to do this type of finish inside the cell. But damn, what a way to destroy a guy's momentum, huh? And yeah, sure, he eventually wins the Universal title, like 2 years later, in a match he originally wasn't even supposed to be in. I just don't get it. What was WWE's problem with Braun? Was it because he got himself organically over? Okay, now that I think about it, that does sound like something Vince hates. So
yeah.
there you go. Why? What was the reason for this? This is Brock freaking Lesnar we're talking about here. The man.
Now, even though I wasn't watching wrestling around this time, I'm not gonna lie to you. When I heard that he got the Money in the Bank briefcase, I think that was the time. I think that was the moment I unsubscribed from WWE, bro. I unsubscribed from their YouTube channel, bro. I didn't want to know nothing about WWE. I kicked them out my algorithm at that point. My whole algorithm was no longer. I said anything wrestling, keep it out of my algorithm. My algorithm literally became rap music, basketball, video games, and a little bit of the gooner shit. But that's neither here nor there.
Can walk out on Raw anytime he wants, ask for a title match, and they're going to give it to him. Why? Because he's Brock freaking Lesnar. Name me one #1 contenders match this man has been in ever since he came back in 2012. Oh, that's right. You can't, because it's never happened. So why in the hell did WWE feel the need to put the Money in the Bank on him? And not just that, they went about it in the most disrespectful way possible. So these guys in the match, who for the most part were all great options to win the contract, and then went in there and they were putting on an instant classic. Seriously, go back and watch the match. The spots and the bumps these guys are putting themselves through was insane. And towards the end, it looked like Mustafa Ali was about to grab the briefcase. And I mean, hey, the whole Kofi Mania spot was originally his, so alright, this makes sense. But then outruns Brock Lesnar, and they just made Ali look so stupid. The man had more than enough time to pull the briefcase down before Brock got down there. But nope, Brock pushes down the ladder, climbs up, grabs the briefcase after not even being in the match originally. The man didn't even take a bump. The fact that this wasn't even the worst thing that happened in 2019 WWE says a lot about just how ass that year was, but that's another video for another time. And while yes, Boombox Brock was entertaining and hilarious, there was no reason they needed to do this to get the belt back on Brock. Bruh, this man didn't even know how the contract worked. And yeah, they did this to, I guess, stat pad just to have him lose to Seth a month later. Dude, let me tell you, being a Brock Lesnar fan during this time was really hard because the amount of bullshit they had him doing was just ridiculous.
Damn.
Look, I understand Otis had really gotten himself over around this time with the whole Mandy Rose story and all, but let's be real. Nobody looked at him as a future world champion. Not even the WWE themselves. First of all, he won what will forever be the weirdest Money in the Bank ladder match of all time. And not only that, He won the briefcase by accident when AJ Styles fumbled it and Otis just so happened to catch it. Which, sure, funny, lol, but come on now. There were way better options in this match. And I remember the whole time when he was holding the briefcase, I just kept contemplating how exactly they were going to make him fail his cash-in. And they just never made the effort to make it look like he could potentially cash in successfully. And then he doesn't even get to cash in because he lost the contract to The Miz a few months later because his boy Tucker turns on him for literally no reason, and they never even have a match over it. I really don't even have much to
I think he got fired before they even had the match, didn't they? Didn't he get fired before they could even have a match against each other? That was crazy.
say about this. The no fans era was a time they were just trying anything, and this was just a complete waste of the briefcase. Again, I'm not going to take too much time with this one because there's just not much to it. Look, I like Nikki Cross, but this Nikki ASH gimmick was just so lame. They had her going from a psycho woman to dressing like a fucking dweeb. So she wins the contract and cashes in the next night on Charlotte because apparently WWE forgot that the women can actually hold on to the briefcase for a long period of time. But she just loses the title right back to Charlotte a month later at SummerSlam. And right back down the card she went. What exactly did this do for anybody besides get Charlotte closer to her 16 world titles?
This is by far the worst one. Out of all these, this is the worst one. Because the fact that he cashed it in on the United States title, and I think he fucking lost the match. He cashed it in on a mid-card title and still lost the match.
Try.
They ruined the Money in the Bank with this one right here. This is the one where they actually ruined the Money in the Bank, bro. For real. This the one right here that did it for me personally.
Stop it. Get some help.
Use your common sense.
I can explain. What more do you want from me? Congratulations!
So the most recent entry on this list was oh so bad because it was a mix of incredibly bad timing and maybe even worse booking. So at the time, they were trying to present Theory as Vince's new pet project, so because of that, they threw him in the ladder match when he wasn't even in it before. And then they had him win it, which I mean, I guess is fine. The briefcase should be used to elevate new talent, and Theory is a really talented dude. But the thing is, he won it at a time where Roman has both world titles, and as we all know, he wasn't losing anytime soon. Another 2 years, in fact. And this was about a year before they reintroduced the World Heavyweight title. So clearly, they've booked themselves into a corner. So how did they get themselves out of it? In the most nonsensical, character-damaging way possible. First of all, every time this man tried to cash in, he would get ridiculed by the bloodline, or he would get beaten up, whether it was Roman himself or Tyson Fury of all people. But then the cherry on top of this shit cake, they had this man cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase on a mid-card title.
What?
So Seth Rollins is the US champion and he issues an open challenge, meaning anyone can have a title match, no questions asked. If you or I pulled up and asked for a match, we would have gotten it that night. But then Seth gets beaten down by Bobby Lashley and then outruns Theory, and instead of simply just getting Rollins back up or something and accepting the open challenge, this imbecile cashes in his briefcase for the United States Championship. Since when was that allowed? And not only that, he loses his cash in for a mid-card title. I have never been so dumbfounded by a Money in the Bank cash in ever in my time of watching WWE. Honestly, him just losing to Roman would have made so much more sense because Roman was literally presented as unbeatable, and also he would have at least lost to the world champion. But no, this is what they did. This was the first big Triple H fumble since he had taken control, and they tried to fix it, but it just didn't work for me. I did not care when he won the US.
They still trying to fix it. It still ain't helping. Even making him cut his hair, grow his beard out, and make him seem like a more serious character in the Vision. It's still not helping, bro. We still remember that dumbass shit.
Title later on. Hell, the man beat John Cena at WrestleMania, and I still could not take him serious because of the stench this left on him. And I hope things get better for him because, like I said, he's a very talented guy, but this did him absolutely no favors. For sure, the worst Money in the Bank cash-in of all time. At least that's my opinion. Honestly, had this been the end of the Money in the Bank concept, I would not have been surprised at all. And thankfully, 2023 was the end of that streak, and we got some solid winners with Damian Priest and Io Sky. And they've both gone on to do pretty well for themselves. And hopefully this is the trend going forward because, man, we've had some rough times with the contract. Let's not go back to having mid-card cash-ins or, you know, Jack Swagger. But I feel like I've covered my bases on this, but let me know if there's anyone I did not mention that you feel should have been on this list. But that's gonna—
Man, these were some of the worst by far, but hey, it's what it is. Anyway, so that's just gonna about do it for this one, most definitely, man. These were some of the worst. By far, Austin Theory is hands down the worst. Damian Sandow's a close second. Baron Corbin's was that shit made me give up. That shit made me give up wrestling. For real. I didn't even know about the Braun Strowman one because I wasn't even watching wrestling around that time, but I digress though. But anyways, though, let's just go about do it for this one. I'll see you on the next video. Till then, deuces.